Hello, I'm Steve Wheeler and I'm at the Eden Conference in Oslo in Norway, and I'm joined by one of our keynote speakers for tomorrow, June Breivik, and you're from the Norwegian Business School, is that correct? Welcome to this little setup we've got here that we're doing videos for everybody. June, your speech tomorrow is going to be on disruptive education. Some people might not understand what that means. What does that mean to you?
Disruptive education means that due to all this digital technology that has changed the world outside education, it's now coming to change the way we teach and the way we learn in education. And it will challenge some of the ways we have already, some of the ways we think about education and what we think is the right way to teach and the right way to organize education.
So when you talk about disruption, then that's a good type of thing to happen, is it?
Yeah.
Why is it good to actually disrupt people who have been doing the same thing for ages and feel that it works?
Because that's the question, does it work? Many people drop out of education, many people don't have their abilities enhanced in education, many people have a huge sense of loss when they think about their education. And if you use technology the right way, people can get empowered from technology, and that is the disruption.
Now, you were talking to me over coffee earlier on about particular ways that technology has changed your practice. You mentioned blogging. Tell me about how you got into blogging.
I started blogging when I was a project manager for digital school in Hordaland County. And I was preaching this message of how we had to change our practice and how we needed to be digital and use the digital arenas. And I came to the conclusion that in order to have credibility, I needed to be there myself. I couldn't tell anybody else what they should do without me doing it myself. So
you have to be there first to actually experience it, and then you can show them how it works. But a lot of people, I mean, Katie Hafner, who's an academic who writes about things like technology in education, she said, she channeled Churchill, Winston Churchill, when she said, "Never has so much been written to be read by so few." Is that your experience of blogging?
I thought no one would read my blogs. Actually, I hoped no one would read my blogs because I didn't think I had anything to tell.
Yeah.
But I've been overwhelmed by the response I've got. And you know, in the beginning when I came to conferences and I introduced myself to new people and they said, "Oh, I read your blog," right? And it was, "Okay, you read my blog. Oh, it's fun, or is it scary?" So and many people have told me that they've changed their practice in their teaching due to what they have read in my blog.
Right.
Yeah, and that is, you feel very humble when people tell you that, right?
It's very rewarding. It must be, if you write something and someone changes their practice because of it. I mean, that must be very rewarding for you, is it?
Yeah, it makes you understand that something as simple as a blog can have an impact on other people's life.
Another thing that you were talking about earlier on was the flipped classroom. This is hyped beyond our ability to understand it, surely. The idea of the flipped classroom, surely all it means is sending out videos, isn't it, to people? Is that what does it mean to you, the flipped classroom? It's more than that, isn't it, surely?
Flipped classroom can be very interesting. It depends on how you use it, but it doesn't need to change anything. Many people see flipped classroom as a game changer, and I think it isn't. Because you still have the teacher as the gateway to learning, you still have the teacher that controls what is learned, you still have a reproductive view of knowledge. So instead of you using books at home, you use videos at home, right? So it doesn't have to change. It can change, but I think in many ways the way you use flipped classroom doesn't change the fundamentals of education. So
really, it's not disruptive in the sense that you mentioned earlier on. Flipped classroom is not disruptive in its current format. Is that correct?
It doesn't have to be, no.
Right, so how do we make it disruptive?
I think you have to use it to empower the student, empower the learner, set the learner free, and put the learner in control of their own learning. And not put the teacher in control of the learning. Right,
so can you give me an example of how that happens in your practice, where you put the student at the centre of the process and you stand back out of the way? How does that work for you?
One of the things you can do is that when you have a flipped classroom model, you have an asynchronous way of teaching, right?
Yes.
So instead of saying that you have to sit in school during lesson and the teacher controls, you let the student learn where and when they want to, and you have all these use these virtual arenas to communicate and collaborate, and also to connect the learners more than connect them to the teacher.
So connecting with each other, so
Yeah.
that in effect they're almost like teaching each other.
Yeah.
Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Right, well, that's excellent. It's a good insight there into June's practice, and she's going to be keynoting the conference tomorrow. We're all looking forward to hearing you. So thank you very much for spending some time today with me to be interviewed. Thank you, June.
Thank you.